Quarters. It's an XRT private performance. Starring Atlantic recording artist Tori Amos. Amos live in an XRT private performance brought to you by Pepsi. And now here's your host, XRT's Frankie Lee.
Thank you, Tom Couch, and good afternoon, everyone, from our studio home, away from our studio home, River North Recorders. This is a lovely blend of high-tech electronics and wood out here on the near north side of downtown Chicago, right across from McClurg Court. And last Friday, we solicited on the air postcards and letters from people who wanted to be part of this particular show. And we had just an overwhelming response. If we would have honored all the requests we would have had to hold it at the Rosemont Horizon or someplace like that. So the people here, the 30 or so people that are here today, are very lucky, and they're, of course, very enthusiastic. And they've all been fed a sumptuous repast by Sacy-Bawn caterers. But, of course, people cannot live on crudités alone. We need spiritual sustenance, and music is right there. Music is right there on the bottom of the spiritual food pyramid. And with us today to provide that is a very startling performer indeed, compelling, a brilliant musician and songwriter. Her voice swoops and swirls and then grabs you by the base of the spine. Her albums, Little Earthquakes and Under the Pink, have sold more than 4 million copies, and she's just released her latest, Boys for Pele, a stunning collection of 18 new songs on Atlantic Records. Please welcome a woman and her piano, Tori Amos.
Little Amsterdam, in a southern town, a harmony, get it on the plate, girl. Mama, keep your head down. Mama, it wasn't my bullet. Don't take me back to the range, back to the range. I'm just coming out of cell in my brain. Don't take me back to the range, back to the range. 'Cause you got to know these days. Na 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 na, na 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 na. Mama got shit. She loved a brown man. Then she built a bridge in the sheriff's pad. She'd do anything to save her man. You see, her olives, they are cold pressed, and her best forehead is a sundress. Mama, it wasn't my bullet. Don't take me back to the range, back to the range. I'm just coming out of cell in my brain. Don't take me back to the range, back to the range. 'Cause get had to go down the phone. I said, boy, you are my Fifth Avenue. Round and around and around I go. Round and around, this time for keeps. Round and around I go. Round and around, this time for keys. And Father, only you can save myself. Playing that organ must count for something. Something you've got to know these days. Little lips to down, shut down the day. The buried hand with a butter bean bouquet and the sheriff can't ride away like he said into the sunset. And I won't say that he shouldn't paid, but mama, it wasn't my bullet. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Overwhelmed.
Oh no.
Powerful stuff. Now that's from the new album, right?
That's from the new album. That's Little Amsterdam. Yeah, I grew up in the South, so there's a bit of that happening, as we all know.
I heard
it's
that.
a bit tricky down there. But I always had my piano and loads to eat, actually, which was really good because those Southern cooks, things might be weird, but they can cook up a storm. So anyway, a lot of times I just wait for songs to come. I know I drive people crazy, but I'm waiting for another one to show up. They just kind of show up. This is a song that I haven't played in a while. It's a B-side I put out a few years ago. Running around
that song was just floating by and you happened to grab it at this particular time.
Yeah, you kind of have to take what you get. They just show up or they don't show up. I mean, for shows it's a little different because I get into like a certain trance before I walk out on stage, and before I walk out, I've kind of sussed out who's coming. And then as the show progresses, one of them usually finds some cute boy and runs off, so another one has to come in. But usually I'm just figuring it out.
They kind of come along and possess you. I mean, that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, they kind of, I'm just plasma, really. They show up. True, they just show up.
Well, you've compared making music to like jumping off a cliff. And you said that your new album was maybe the biggest cliff you've ever jumped off. Why is that?
Well, structure-wise, as you can tell, I really didn't follow any structure that I have in my last work, and I didn't really feel like censoring, and I didn't feel like, I get tired of pop songs having the same form. It just really bores me. So I'm always trying to push that for myself. And if I don't do that as a musician, then I just, I don't know, I feel like I've kind of let myself down. That's all.
Well, when I listen to the album, there's a lot of different things going on. There's a brass section, and there's like a choir, and there's strings. Yet the core of the album is really kind of just a woman and her piano.
I kind of figured that even though I wanted to be Lita Ford years ago, I had to accept that that was never going to happen, that this is my instrument. I'm not a guitar player. This is what I do. And sometimes things get really groovy, and like George Porter Jr. will show up. He's from the Meters, and he'll come and play on something. He'll come and play on a few. And on certain songs, I just got all excited, and there's 68 tracks. I mean, it just didn't stop. Like, you know, when you pig out, that kind of happens. But for a lot of the songs, I wanted to put the piano through a Leslie cabinet, or I wanted to use the harpsichord. It's a big part of the record, but yet not play it as a traditional Baroque instrument. So I was trying to push the limits of my instrument, and just adding a bunch of guitars really wouldn't have pushed the limits of the piano. So there are certain ways I wanted to take it. So even if it's sparse, it's doing something that I've not done with it before.
Yeah, there's a lot of different layers there, which is, I think something you need to have for a powerful album. Was this the first album you did that you had like complete control over? Nobody was saying do this or do that, or maybe you should try it this way, or... I noticed you produced it and wrote it and played the lion's share of the stuff on it yourself.
Well, the difference is, because I produced it by myself, I've worked with some wonderful people. I pulled in a tech crew instead of producers, so my techs are pretty serious. My techs, I mean, they, I feel like Schumacher talking about my pit team, but they're really very much a part of the sound, and yet if something wasn't working and I'd walk in and go, this sucks, I hate her, get rid of her, they would look at me, and instead of trying to talk me out of it or say, well, let's just save this and we'll do another one, they would look and they go, with a Guinness in one hand and a fag in the other, they'd go, are you sure you want to do this? Because they're Brits and Dutch. And I'd say, yes, I'm sure. They say 3, 2, and their hands on the red light. Are you sure? I said, yes. Gone.
Wow.
So it's not a long discussion, but they're just trying to make sure I'm of sound mind and body in that moment. And once they know that, then it's gone. And that was freedom.
Well, you seem to know what you're doing. I mean, you've obviously struck a responsive chord, selling millions and millions of records. In fact, your new album is one of the top sellers in Chicago, according to our secret sources.
Yeah, she's not complaining. I mean, the thing is, it's really about, I think as a musician, you're always trying to do new stuff. And if you don't do that, then I just remember being a little kid playing my instrument going, God, one day I hope I can keep challenging myself as a musician no matter what's happening on the commercial scene, because you can't be a hostage to that.
Well, are you going to play another one for us?
Yeah.
What have you got for us? From the new album, maybe, or?
I don't know yet. Let me think.
Okay, wait. We're waiting for the muse to come.
Yeah.
You can tell me
listening to an XRT private performance starring Tori Amos, live from River North Recorders. Wonderful stuff. That also a part of the new album?
Yeah, that's on the new record. Doughnut song.
Boys for Pele. Now, Pele, if I remember my high school mythology, was the Hawaiian volcano goddess. Is
Yes.
that right? Who required human sacrifice.
Well, or lots of marshmallows. I mean,
Big marshmallows.
Yeah, it's not really a sacrifice record. I mean, sometimes, look, if they were jerks, they're gonna pay. But it's not about, I don't have a hate thing with guys. There's actually a lot of love in this record. But sometimes love turns into obsession or vampire. I mean, I had my little lipsticks trying to match the color of the boy's blood. You know, sometimes you just go, see, the girls know exactly what I'm talking about.
The boys are all very disturbed by that.
Well, I don't think they always know what the women are up to, because the shocking thing is they had no idea that I was looking for my woman's worth through them. They couldn't conceive. They just didn't, yeah, they couldn't actually conceive. No, but they couldn't, they would just, after everything was over, and this just isn't one person, this was a few people where I kind of learned these lessons, and they just couldn't believe that I really thought they had some understanding of my woman's worth. And it's true. I look to them.
Well, it's very much an album of songs from a woman's heart. What would you expect a male listener to get from?
Well, first I'd suggest a big bottle of red. I've been suggesting this for the guys. And the other thing is, what I try and tell the guys with a little giggle is, you know, when you go, now is not a good time. I really can't talk about this right now. It's not a good time. I'll deal with this later. And you hang up that phone. This is what happens. This record. That's what happens. And there were moments when I was crawling to a phone that wasn't ringing, actually. So there's that thing of, it doesn't matter if that I was successful and things were happening. Under the Pink was sold out everywhere. It was in the middle of the tour. But that whole thing of, I mean, I don't need a guy to tell me how to be a Viking. I know how to do that. I can go steal chicks. I know how to do that. I can do all that. I know how to get a home. I know how to build a home. I know how to, as they say, be a wolf. I knew how to be a wolf, but I didn't know how to be a woman.
You're scaring me. One of the things we can do, if you'd like, is play the first single from the new The Boys for Pele album, if you'd like. It's one of those songs that you really can't do without maybe more instrumentation, or you're not comfortable doing it with more instrumentation yet, but if you'd like to do that, we could play it back at the station and listen to it here, if you'd like.
Well, you can do anything you want. I mean, if you want to have fun, I could... I've been doing this thing. I don't know why not, because I've been dying to do this. I haven't done this in America yet. I did it in Holland, where I played a chair. Do you know what I mean? How you just, if your instrument can't do what you need it to, I don't have the harpsichord here right now. Let's just try something. And Johnny, tell me if this, can you hear this? Does that pick up? Yeah, does it? Johnny? Yeah, it picks up. Okay, try this. See what happens here. Are you ready?
I'm game.
Quarter-light sneers, quarter-light breeze, quarter-light wind, lightning see, boys on my left side, boys on my right side, boys in the middle, and you're not here. Do, 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 do. I need a big loan from a girl's own building, tumbling down. Didn't know our love was so small. Couldn't stand it, Mr. St. John. Just bring your son. The spire is high and my souls can feed, and you still hear the bell dragging your foot. Yes, I'm hiding it. Well, Sister Ernestine, but I'll still hear the bell dragging my foot. Yes, and building, tumbling down. Didn't know our love was so small. Couldn't stand it out, Mr. St. John. Just bring your son. Right on time, you get closer and closer. Called my name. There's no way and use that fame. Arrange your wife and kids today. Maybe she will. I said, oh, maybe she will. Caught lightning and dreamed a little dream. Made my own pretty heat machine. Boys on my left side, boys on my right side, boys in the middle, and you're not here. I said, boys in their dresses, and you're not here. I need a big loan from a girl's only. I need a big hang loan from the girls' own building, tumbling down. Didn't know our love was so small. Couldn't stand it out, Mr. St. John. Just bring your son.
You're listening to a private performance. Tori Amos, 93 XRT, live from River North Recorders. Caught a Light Sneeze. From the new album, Boys for Pele. Now, is that song written from the point of view of like another woman, the other woman, the bad side of a love triangle?
It's definitely the bad side. It wasn't the one that won. My point of view is not the side that won in this song. No, I think where it shows up on the record and the whole reason Sneeze is where it is because, well, obviously it was definitely malaria. And it's one of those things where you know this isn't good for you, and you know that anything any of your friends say to you just doesn't mean anything. Don't do this, Tori, you're crazy, don't do this. Why are you doing this? And you just look at them and say, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. Don't worry, everything's just fine.
Well, you captured it perfectly in that song. And I understand that was that song was actually released initially on the internet, on the Atlantic Records website.
Yeah.
I think it was the first song ever to be released that way.
I wouldn't know about that because I don't know much about what goes on. Did anybody here know?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, somebody's...
Isn't anyone online in here?
I'm sure there is. They're everywhere.
Now, you recorded the new album in a couple of interesting places, in Ireland and in Louisiana. Why did you use those two different places to record the album?
Geographically, I go after a place. That's another layer to the work. No different than with Under the Pink, New Mexico. Well, there are reasons why I did that. For Pele, the South kept coming up for me as like, I get visuals when I'm getting a work. So it's no different than, I think, layering colors as a painter to achieve something in the end. But as I'm bringing different elements in so that sometimes you don't even know why, but everything has a frequency, obviously, and everything has a current. So as you're trying to pull these currents together, they're different. It's no different, I guess, than the other arts. So geography is a huge place where you plug in or you don't plug in. And Ireland was calling because it had made up a lot of the South where I spent a lot of time. And the church influence was huge, so I went back to the old world. I mean, the Native Americans did not bring Christianity forth. So I went back and followed that ley line, and it took me back to Ireland.
Now, you've been playing piano since you were 2.5 years old.
2.5, yeah.
What was that like for those of us who are not child prodigies? What was it like to be able to play an instrument that young? Was it hard, or was it... How did your parents react?
Well, my father wanted me to learn all the hymns, of course. And I caught on quickly that that wasn't the only repertoire available. And I don't remember a lot from 2.5. I just could always play.
And then you were, your parents sent you to a conservatory, a music conservatory, to study classical, I would assume?
Yeah, when I was 5.
Now, do you look back upon those days fondly or not so fondly?
I think teaching music is really tricky. It's such a subjective thing. Because I always said this, how did this ding-a-ling ever know how Mozart wanted this played? I'm like, how do you know this? Because what if he really wanted it this way? Maybe he was drinking loads of vodka and he didn't want it this restrained. But they had an idea of how everything should be. And I really, I think that kind of confinement, that's why I do covers sometimes, because the idea isn't to replicate what another person has done. I don't think so. I think people can improve on things or just take it from another angle. I mean, I'd love Metallica to do Silent all these years, actually.
Well, you did a very interesting version of Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana.
Yes.
I thought that added another dimension to that song, a whole other dimension. And, well, are you going to play a final one here for us? Or...
Yeah.
We'd love to hear more, I'm sure.
Thank you. Glue stuck to my shoes. Does anyone know why you play with an orange rind? You say you packed my things and divided what was mine. You're off to the mountain top. I say her skinny legs could use some, but I
Now I'm wishing for my best impression of my best Angie Dickinson. But now I've got to worry, 'cause boy, you still look pretty when you're putting the damage. Yes, when you're putting the damage, don't take it don't make me scratch on your door. I never left you for a banjo. I only just turned around for a poodle and a covered my impression of my best Angie Dickinson. But now I've got to worry, 'cause boy, you still look pretty when you're putting the damage on. Yes, when you're putting the damage on. Get I'm trying not to move, it's just your ghost passing through. Said I'm trying not to move, it's just your ghost passing through. It's just your ghost passing through. And now I'm quite sure there's a light in your platoon. I never seen a light move like yours can do to me. So now I'm wishing for my best impression of my best Angie Dickinson. But now I've got to worry, 'cause boy, you still look pretty to me. But I've got a place to go. I've got a ticket to your late show. But now I've got to worry, 'cause even still you sure are pretty when you're putting the damage on. Yes, when you're putting the damage on. You're just so pretty when you're putting the damage on.
Tori Amos, live on XRT. That was wonderful. Another song from Boys for Pele. Well, I could listen to this all day. I don't know about you. Thanks so much for coming out on this cold day in Chicago. Usually Chicago this time of year is much more temperate.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Whatever.
But thanks for coming, and when can we expect you to come and do a full-fledged concert appearance?
I'm not sure when we'll be in Chicago. We hit the States first week in April. We start in the UK into February. We do 200 shows this time around.
Wow, so you're going to do like a worldwide tour to support the album? Or part of the world anyway?
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to do about 200.
And what's going to be your support group for this show?
Oh, it's changing all the time because we're in Europe. Different countries have different desires. So, to be honest with you, I've got so many shows to do before I get to the States that I don't know what'll be happening by the time we get here. I mean, I could have 12 Sherpas playing along with me. Who knows?
Well, a little uncertainty is good, I think. But thanks so much for coming and doing this with us. It was great.
Thank you.
You're a very powerful performer, and good luck with the new album. I hope it sells millions. And millions. Tori Amos. An XRT private performance, River North Recorders. Thanks to our audience for coming. We'd like to thank the staff here at River North Recorders, Joe Thomas, Joanna Basil, Stan Miller, Rick Fritz, Dave Foster, our friends at Atlantic Records for making this possible, Rick Sudikoff, Todd Elmore, last and least, Danny Bush. We also want to thank Rich Wilson of Andy's Musk with Jim Flood and Stacey Bond for our delicious buffet. Terry Gidwitz and Mindy Nouveau and our XRT promotion interns, XRT's engineering department headed up by John Freeberg with assistance from Mark Paz. And of course, Tori Amos and her management from Spivak Entertainment. Today's XRT private performance was brought to you by Pepsi. I'm Frankie Lee, and this is 93 XRT Radio Chicago.